Tonight, making a dent in the housing crisis.
One of the largest affordable housing projects to ever happen in the country.
The city of Waterloo finalizing a land transfer to help create 1,000 new affordable homes.
This is a great day for Waterloo and for the future residents of this community.
Hometown talent taking a top spot on the court.
The Utah Jazz select Will Riley from Kitchener, Canada.
Will Riley is headed to the Wizards after a first-round draft selection.
It's an incredible experience. We're still trying to process it. At least I know I am.
And thousands of fans are expected to descend for one of the biggest esports tournaments. Day one of the Call of Duty Championships takes over the odd. Good evening. A major affordable housing development in the city of Waterloo is one step closer to becoming a reality. The mayor calling it a once-in-a-generation transformational project that aims to tackle the housing crisis head-on, with more than 1,000 homes set to be built. CTV's Heather Senerin has been following the story and joins us live. Heather, what kind of housing are we talking about here?
Well, it's a mix of affordable, attainable, and sustainable homes, Ashley. It's a massive project and is expected to cost about $500 million to build. The city and its partner, Habitat for Humanity, says it's more than just bricks and mortar. It's being touted as an ambitious project unlike any other.
One of the largest affordable housing projects to ever happen in the country.
The city of Waterloo finalized the transfer of the city-owned land near Rim Park, and with the help of partners like Habitat for Humanity Waterloo Region, more than 1,000 homes will fill this 25 acres of land.
Yeah, so there's going to be a bit of everything. The idea here is to create a whole community. So it's not kind of what's normally being built. It's not patchwork.
Affordable homes, but not only that. There's something for everyone.
About 30% will be for deeply affordable, 30% will be for affordable, and the rest will be attainable.
So this is really focused on middle income earners. We're talking about teachers, tradespersons, PSWs, those folks that have just been absolutely priced out of housing these days.
It's being funded in part by $22 million from the federal government's Housing Accelerator Fund.
A huge portion of that is going into the work that's being done on this site and to provide some compensation to the city for the land itself.
A mix of rental and ownership will be available, from studio apartments to 4-bedroom units.
Daycares, a gym, healthcare, food. That you want everything to be able to be here because we're trying to create a whole community. It's more than just housing.
Habitat calls it a made-in-Waterloo solution to the housing crisis that they hope has national impact.
We're really hoping that other communities will take a look at this and see, how this could be replicated across the country.
Shovels are expected to be in the ground by next year.
The price to rent or to own will range depending on the size and other factors, but the Build Now team says it will be among the most affordable homes on the market, and they say there will be safeguards in place to ensure the homes remain affordable over time. Ashley.
CTV's Heather Senerin reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Heather. It's the lasting signs of the latest heat wave. Sidewalks around the region of Waterloo buckling from the hot temperatures. As CTV's Colton Weens explains, it's not a common problem, but cities around the region are responding to a number of issues.
It's an issue that's risen up around the region of Waterloo this week. Sidewalks buckling or heaving, the impact of the extreme heat.
Typically, those materials expand more than usual. If the sidewalk doesn't have enough room to expand, or if joints are clogged or any sort of damage would be there, the pressure buildup actually forces the slab to eventually lift or buckle upwards.
In the city of Waterloo, a portion of the sidewalk along Marsland Drive is closed after an issue there, while 2 spots on the sidewalk on Herb Street also buckled.
We just saw a really big one right down there for the first time, and we're like, I don't know, I thought it looked like an earthquake or something.
First thing that comes to mind looking at this is it's kind of annoying because you have to walk uphill and then you have to get over these kind of stupid bumps.
The city is working on locating and fixing the issues, but is also asking residents that come across an issue along the sidewalks to let them know. In the city of Cambridge, this sidewalk in West Galt buckled from the heat stress this week, and another buckled in the Preston area. Officials saying while buckling has been rare in the city, it is always a possibility when there are very high temperatures and long periods of sun. Meanwhile, the city of Kitchener has also seen issues, saying some sidewalks saw heaving after the material in the slab expanded in the heat. The city says locations are typically marked, monitored, and replaced if necessary. And sometimes these areas will go back down on their own after the heat dissipates, but sometimes they'll require further intervention.
I could definitely see anybody with, maybe a wheelchair or something like that, or somebody with some type of a disability not being able to get around it. Hopefully they get it fixed up. I think that would be nice.
And with extreme heat events happening more often in the community, experts say they are researching new ways to try and prevent this.
How to make small adjustments in the joint design and drainage and all those stuff that hopefully will somehow help out with resolving this issue or minimizing the impacts as we experience more of this sort of events.
Colton Weens, CTV News.
All right, Alexander Pinto joining us now for our first check on weather. And Alex, it was a much cooler, much more comfortable day out there for many people.
Yeah, it sure was. You could really feel it early this morning, too. As soon as you stepped outside, nice cool breeze, and hopefully you had a chance to avoid some of the showers that we saw. And depending on when you were out maybe this morning, you may have seen, or heard rather, that thunder roaring a couple times. We noticed that on our dog walk. But for us here in Kitchener-Waterloo this afternoon, mainly cloudy conditions. There is a 40% chance, though, to see some showers. And when we look at our satellite and radar, we are seeing some scattered showers throughout as it makes its way towards the east at this point. So further to it feeling a lot cooler, definitely not like what we saw that extreme heat earlier in the week. Right now, sitting at 16 degrees, slightly warmer if you are by the water, 22 in Goderich, 16 in Mount Forest, 15 in Barrie. And with that humidity, not too bad. So feeling closer to 19 degrees, so still noticeably cooler, but quite warmer, actually, it feels in Goderich. Feels closer to 29, feeling closer to 29 as well in London. So, yeah, we'll definitely continue to see when we're going to keep an eye out on a bit more of active weather making its way across Waterloo region. So we're going to break all that down for you coming up a little bit later. I'll send it back to you, Ashley.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Looking forward to hearing when that sun will make an appearance this weekend. Well, billionaire businessman Frank Stronach has pleaded not guilty to 12 charges he's facing in a sexual assault trial in Toronto. The 92-year-old faces a combined 18 charges involving 13 complainants, with some allegations dating back decades. Some of those charges are expected to be heard in a separate trial in Newmarket next year. As for the Toronto trial, Stronach's defense lawyer says he has opted to have his case heard by judge alone, and that switch was made with the Crown's consent. He has denied all allegations against him. The stage is set for a battle over the Ford government's plan to mine the so-called Ring of Fire in Northern Ontario. First Nations residents have set up an encampment west of James Bay. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
Good morning.
This is not your average summer family boat trip. Geronimo Cataquapit, his parents, and older brother are on a mission, headed towards the site of a proposed bridge near Attawapiskat. It's a 400-kilometer-long journey.
We only travel 24-ish kilometers, and we need to make up for that.
The goal, he says, is to reassert First Nations presence near the mineral-rich Ring of Fire. It's after provincial and federal governments passed legislation this spring aimed at speeding up development of big economic projects, including mines.
Almost essentially out of the blue. And so I thought, like, I took maybe an hour to process it. Then I said, okay, we got to go do something.
The goal is to set up a semi-permanent encampment at the river's edge.
We're supporting each other, all four of us, and supporting, especially we're supporting our son, Geronimo.
The family will be meeting with a contingent from the Nishnawga First Nation and bringing messages of support from other First Nations.
All here where these two rivers meet, we hang up their flags to show that the families use this territory.
Asked about the planned encampment, the Premier says he looks forward to building a road to the Ring of Fire with collaboration from First Nations.
We've been consulting with Webequie and Martin Falls for a few years now, so we have been discussing this, and they've signed agreements moving forward.
Touting the economic possibilities of new mines.
I want them to have their kids and grandchildren to have a better life. I want them to have equity partnership.
After apologizing for saying First Nations come to the government hat in hand, Doug Ford's working out plans to visit Indigenous communities this summer.
Nothing's better than sitting down, maybe fishing and breaking bread, and seeing exactly how I can support them, how the province can support them until their communities thrive and prosper and grow.
That's CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. As we head into a busy summer season for festivals and events, you may want to keep an eye on your valuables. There's a warning from police tonight that pickpockets are looking to snatch phones and are targeting people in crowds. CTV's John Woodward has the details.
Within a year, I had like 3 phones stolen from him.
An unlucky year for Anif Williams, whose cell phones and him are quickly parted.
It's ridiculous, man. It's not cool.
His phones were mostly taken when he was distracted on the subway, but police are pointing to the upcoming Pride Festival this weekend as a place where the exciting things to see turn into an opportunity for thieves.
We saw a significant uptick, particularly last year in Pride. Up over 300 cell phones were stolen.
Pickpocketed from people who were distracted or trusting, like Mihail Adler's family. They put a phone down for a moment at Mel Lastman Square recently.
It's a big phone, and literally moments later it was gone.
His screenshots show the phone taking a trip first to 2 addresses in North York and then an address he didn't expect.
And then about 4 days ago, it pinged that it was in Vietnam.
Among many phones traded internationally, one way to escape the remote resets customers can put on them.
So a lot of phones that would not function here in North America will function just fine on a different continent.
Security expert Claudio Popa says thieves try to take a phone while it's unlocked to sell it for more. But if not,
cell phones can also be taken apart to their core components, and they are worth a lot of money because screens, batteries, cameras, and chips have a ton of value.
And then there's what's on your phone. A Fox station in Minneapolis showed how thieves used bank apps on stolen phones to drain hundreds of thousands of dollars. Similar organizations expected to be operating here.
I will be surprised if they don't. What we're asking people is even to keep things tight, close to their body, in bags in front of them, in pockets. Just be aware and be mindful.
Advice Williams is now following.
I'm more responsible.
He hopes people this weekend will do the same. John Woodward, CTV News.
Another local athlete putting Kitchener on the basketball map. Last night, Will Riley working his way into the NBA as the 21st overall pick. CTV's Karis Mapp has more on his journey, as well as other Canadians dominating the league.
The 21st pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Will Riley from Kitchener, Canada.
A dream come true for a local boy from Waterloo region. Surrounded by friends and family, 19-year-old Will Riley became the first of 2 Canadians drafted into the NBA Wednesday night.
The whole experience at the table, it was a little nerve-wracking, but Will was handled himself well and kind of kept the whole table calm.
Drafted by Utah, now repping Washington's blue and red following a quick trade to the Wizards.
Utah wanted to take Washington's pick at the 18th overall because they were going after a player named Walter Clayton Jr. So Utah was willing to give up additional draft assets in order to trade up. Washington happily accepted.
Starting at Preston High School in Cambridge and Kitchener's Grand River Collegiate, the 6'8" forward traveled to the U.S. for his final 2 years of high school, playing at the Phelps School in Pennsylvania.
We went up to New York and obviously celebrated with Will and his family and his friends. I don't know if I was nervous. I think it was just nervous excitement because it's you know it's going to happen, right? You just don't know when it's going to happen, which I think is the excitement of the draft.
The excitement short-lived, with the real work only just beginning.
We're currently in a Sprinter van. We're just landed in Washington. We just met the head coach. We're about to go meet the rest of the organization. Give a little wave to CTV Kitchener.
A superstar talent long in the making. Playing in the NCAA for the 2025 season with the University of Illinois, Riley averaged 12.6 points over 35 games.
He had a goal and he had a dream, and he was able to realize that last night, which a lot of kids can't do.
He's getting 1,500 to 2,000 shots a day. The kid's relentless when it comes to this sport.
One of many athletes putting Canada on the map. This year's MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, helping bring Oklahoma City their first championship title. Denver Nuggets' Jamal Murray, also an NBA champion from Kitchener.
It's obviously grown in popularity, and then with that, the proximity to the U.S. makes it a lot easier for a lot of these players and athletes who show a lot of potential here in Canada.
But for now, Riley ready to make an impact with his hometown team cheering him on.
He actually had a group of his grade school friends from Breslau Public come out to New York, so that was really nice to see.
Karis Mapp, CTV News, Kitchener.
And staying with the NBA draft, a 6'7", 20-year-old is the Toronto Raptors' first selection this year.
With the 9th pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors select Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina.
Murray Boyles averaged 16.8 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 2.4 assists last season as a sophomore forward for the South Carolina Gamecocks. The 245-pound forward says he brings physicality and a willingness to do whatever the coach needs him to do. Here is the reaction after being picked by the Raptors last night in New York.
I almost shed a tear, but I try to keep my composure. But, you know, it's surreal. You know, like I dreamed of this when I was a kid. Like, you never know you're gonna be there till you're there, for real. So it's like, it's crazy.
Beautiful. Okay, you got your passport ready?
Oh yeah, my passport in my book bag.
Round 2 of the NBA draft goes tonight. Once again, Toronto will have the 9th pick. A reminder to start your day in the know with your CTV newsletter, Kitchener newsletter rather. Get the best local content from CTV News straight to your inbox. We've got today's top stories, the latest weather forecast, and some must-see videos. It's all in one place. Sign up at ctvnewskitchener.ca. Growing challenges for finding a family doctor. Still to come on CTV News. A population of Canadians have been having a hard time seeing a physician. We'll have those details coming up.
I'm Jeff Pickle. Parking proving to be a major problem at St. Mary's Hospital. Why the nurses say they are upset by a new system that will force them to park off-site and shuttle to work. That story is just ahead.
Cool and a lot more comfortable following that extreme heat, but some more wet weather could be on the way. We'll have that in your full forecast coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
It's a hard job with daily challenges, and now the nurses at St. Mary's Hospital in Kitchener say soon getting to work will be another obstacle. To help alleviate parking congestion at the Queen Street Hospital, management is making nurses park off-site and then shuttling them to the hospital. CTV's Jeff Pickle has been following this for us. Good afternoon, Jeff. Now, they say the nurses are not happy about this.
Well, not at all, Ashley. They say their shifts are already very long and very difficult, and morale within the profession is low due to the nursing shortage, and now having to wait to take a shuttle just to get to work or get back to their car after the shift is yet another insult. It's an issue at most hospitals.
I would say it is quite congested. It's kind of hard to find parking.
But parking at St. Mary's Hospital, even on the best days, can be a challenge.
I'm handicapped myself, so it's too far for me to park at the other end to come down here, so I sit in my car and I wait. Hopefully yesterday was about 20 minutes I waited.
To help alleviate some of that pressure, the hospital is moving nurses and other staff to another lot. The hospital says the reality is that our Queens Boulevard site does not have the space that we need for everyone to park on site. Adding these parking changes are part of our continued effort to support patient care and ensure that when our patients arrive for an appointment and when our team members arrive for a shift, everyone can count on a space being available. Starting early July, nurses will no longer be able to park on site.
In a job where we're overworked, it's an unattractive job at times nowadays at the best of times. And this is just another example of a form of disrespect we're seeing in our profession in general.
Instead of the short walk to the hospital, nurses will get on a shuttle at the Concordia Club 5 to 10 minutes away if the shuttle is on time or not already full.
But it could add another 20 to 40 minutes on each end of the nurse's workday.
According to the nurses union, added unpaid time is not sitting well.
the little things that a workplace can do to feel important as an employee. And as somebody who cares for the public, you want your nurse to be rested and content. I think the public would agree.
They say the added time crunch could impact patient care.
You're going to be looking at the clock. When does it come? Okay, I'm going to skip through. The likelihood that you make a mistake or forget to add something to your report to the incoming nurse is going to be exponentially higher.
The parking changes begin July 9th.
Now, the hospital says there will be some on-site parking for team members who are on call or working overnight or weekend shifts or shifts that fall outside the shuttle hours. A request for an interview with the hospital was declined. Ashley.
CTV's Jeff Pickle reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Jeff. The outdoor community pool in Clinton will not reopen. It was closed 3 years ago after falling into disrepair. Last summer, Central Huron Council voted to fill in the pool, but held off in response to public pressure. Officials had applied for a government grant to cover the $5 million needed to rehabilitate the pool, but that request was turned down. The pool will now be filled and returned to green space. A new survey is out today, says more older Canadians are having a hard time finding a family doctor compared to other countries. Finding same-day or next-day appointments is also a growing challenge. CTV's Scott Hurst reports.
Canada's healthcare system is under significant strain, in part due to an aging population, and getting access to primary care is increasingly more difficult.
Well, I'm like a lot of people that my family has a history of cancer in my situation, but there are people that I know that have family histories of other conditions you should be concerned about, and you don't have a chance to get a checkup.
Canada is falling behind some international partners. About 8% of Canadians 65 and up don't have access to a primary care provider. That's about 600,000 people, meaning more seniors are going without care compared to those in the U.S., UK, France, and Germany, to name a few. The report published by the Canadian Institute for Health Information also notes older Canadians are struggling to access mental health care when they need it.
Mental health care is really important for older adults. We found in our survey in 2024 that 1 in 4 older adults reported feeling isolated at least some of the time.
The report also shows timely access to primary care has been getting worse. Only about a quarter of seniors who have access to care can even get an appointment the same day or next. That number was much higher than in a previous survey less than a decade ago. Now, improving access is not an easy fix. Canada's population is rapidly aging and people are living longer. According to Stats Canada, seniors made up less than 1/5 of the population in 2023. By 2030, that number will swell to nearly a quarter. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
It's the season for backyard barbecues and picnics. A great way to get outside, but rising temperatures could also bring food safety risks and present opportunities for foodborne bacteria to thrive.
I always recommend one of the biggest mistakes that people find is that they actually contaminate their own food, especially with meat. So if you're taking raw meat with you, then you need to think about how you're going to safely handle that. So put it in a leak-proof container, put it at the bottom of your cooler so it doesn't contaminate anything else. And ideally, if you have 2 coolers, try and separate the meat from the rest of your items.
For more food safety tips to keep you safe this summer, you can watch the entire interview with Leanne Evans and Dr. Nicola Mercer on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. All right, well, let's take a look outside from our tower cam. This is uptown Waterloo. It's still a very comfortable 16 degrees out there. And as Alex mentioned earlier, we might see a little bit more wet weather before the sun makes a reappearance. She'll have those details coming up shortly. But still ahead, navigating through fish fly season, the seasonal infestation taking over communities around Lake Erie. Why a large population of the bug is a sign of a healthy body of water. Plus, are wages keeping up with inflation? Year-over-year numbers suggest yes, but some say it's not happening fast enough. Stay with us. All right, Alex is back for a full look at weather. Now, Alex, I put on a light jacket this morning. A bit controversial for some people, but I thought it was necessary.
I thought it was necessary too, especially, you know, taking the dog out a little bit earlier than we normally did, maybe closer to 6:30 this morning or so. And definitely, at least for me, I needed it, but I'm always cold.
Same. I mean, same. I feel I know it was a bit hot the last week or so, but I'd rather that heat than the dead of winter any day. Don't come at me, folks.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm a spring, summer lover too, and I would take this over, you know, any snowfall or snow squalls. But we've got some time until we see that. But yeah, right now we're seeing some cloud cover over Waterloo. It's rather Kitchener. Sorry, this is a live look from downtown Kitchener this hour. Still seeing about 40% chance of showers as we get into the overnight hours. Also a risk of a thunderstorm. And yeah, we could be in for a little bit more wet weather before your weekend officially kicks off. So we'll take a closer look at that in just a second. But yes, you definitely want to keep that umbrella nearby as we get into the overnight, into tomorrow especially. So right now, again, just seeing that cloud cover for us tonight. If you are in Mount Forest or anywhere more north, so Aurelia, Barrie, maybe you have some plans to head up north a little bit earlier and giving yourself an extended weekend, you definitely want to keep that umbrella just in case. Risk of a thunderstorm there. Wyerton also could potentially see a little bit of active weather. And then another system coming through. So Friday night, quite a bit of active weather. So we could see some pretty heavy rain at times here in Kitchener-Waterloo, Brantford, Hamilton, Mount Forest. Risk of a thunderstorm as well as Wyerton. So we're going to be seeing on and off showers throughout until we get into Saturday or so. Around 2 a.m. we could see another round come through. And again, that risk of a thunderstorm. Saturday night, chance of showers also sticking with us before we get into your Sunday. But the Sunday looking pretty good. We're going to get into that in just a moment. Noticeably cooler, currently 16 degrees here in Kitchener-Waterloo, 20 in London, 15 in Mount Forest. It is actually slightly warmer if you're by the water, so about 20 degrees or so in Goderich right now. And with that humidex, feeling closer to 19 here in Kitchener-Waterloo, 20 in Toronto, 19 in Hamilton. So slightly warmer, but still overall quite cool compared to that heat wave we saw earlier in the week. A nice break from those extreme temperatures. We did reach a high twice today, actually. Once around 5 o'clock this morning and then again at around 11. And normal for this time, 25 degrees, so we are slightly cooler than the usual for this time of year. Record high, 35 degrees, that was set in 1941, and the record low was 4.4. That was set in 1922. That sun now setting at 9:07 p.m. Tonight's not going to be the best night when it comes to maybe sitting on the deck, having a drink and watching that sunset, but one day this weekend, potentially it could. So overnight, 15 degrees, chance of showers, 40% chance with a risk of a thunderstorm. And again, that risk of a thunderstorm and chance of showers sticking with us as we get into tomorrow. The heat, though, expected to rise, expected to hit a high of 30 degrees with a 30% chance of showers. So over the next couple of days, you want to keep that umbrella handy just in case, so could see some scattered showers on and off. But Sunday, take a look at that sunny sky expected with a high of 28 degrees. So if you have a beach day planned, a picnic, you just want to go for a walk or just spend the entire day outside, that might be the best day. And it looks like throughout, actually, even in Lambton, Kent, and Essex, Sunday was going to be at this point your best day for any outdoor activities. Expected high of 30 degrees and then chance of showers, so 60% chance of showers for your Monday. And for Southern Georgian Bay, look at that, sunny sky expected for your Sunday as well with a high of 26. But hopefully, I mean, you know, Saturday we're seeing about a 30% chance of showers, so hopefully tomorrow we can see that system maybe make its way away so we can have, or out rather, so we can see a little bit more sunshine. But at this point, any outdoor activities, looks like Sunday is your day. And here is tonight's Weather Watcher picture. Tony Ward sending us this beautiful shot of a stunning cotton candy sky. This was taken along Huron Drive at Sand Hills in Wilmot. Tony says gratitude and inspiration reveal themselves sometimes in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. I love that. Had to include it. Beautiful, beautiful shot. Thank you for being tonight's Weather Watcher picture. Again, not going to see the sun, you know, rise or sunset looking like that tonight, but over the weekend, Sunday hopefully will be your best day to enjoy that outside.
Noted. I've got a paddle board ready to go.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Paddle board, maybe a couple of cocktails, mocktails, whatever you enjoy, and
love it.
You're set.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Fish fly season is back in parts of southwestern Ontario, and some residents are sweeping, swooping, and swatting the storm. CTV's Chris Campbell has the details.
They arrive without warning and leave just as suddenly, but when they're here, you'll know it.
We get thousands of them.
You just use the mail and swat around you as you're walking.
The fish fly, or mayfly, is a sign of a healthy Lake Erie, but it also brings headaches to towns along the shoreline.
If it's good for the environment, I'm happy to see them, but they are kind of a pain in the neck.
The good thing is they're only here for a couple of weeks.
They're feeding the environment needs it, but what a mess.
In places like Kingsville and Leamington, the invasion has become part of summer life.
The town's been fabulous cleaning it up. We haven't had any accidents. Some years it makes such a grease lick that the cars go to stop and they go right into the fence down here at Seacliff Park. But for the most part, it's been okay.
I don't know why they use my car as a target, but they do.
With short lifespans and no mouths, fish flies don't do harm, but they do disrupt daily life. Some businesses even adjust hours or cleaning routines during the height of the hatch.
This year seems to really, there's a lot of them.
I don't like it. They smell, and there's no sense in trying to clean it off until they're all done coming here.
The good news, the season usually only lasts a couple of weeks.
When mayflies are thriving and hatching, that's telling you that you have a lot of oxygen in the water, and it basically suggests that things are getting pretty good.
The bad news, we're right in the thick of it.
The one big thing is they smell bad. When they're dead, they smell like fish. We turn off the outside lights at night, we hose off our cars. They're not particularly creepy, they're just kind of annoying.
For now, it's brooms, buckets, and a whole lot of patience.
Free fish flies, bring your own buckets, bring your own truckloads at a time. I'll give you the shovels if you want. You can clean them up on your own first thing in the morning.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
A fully electric replica of a Mercedes G-Wagon. Still to come on CTV News, a student from London earning a major scholarship for their creation.
I'm Krista Simpson at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium, where a major Esports championship kicked off today. The game that's bringing thousands of people here this weekend to watch the best of the best compete. That story is just ahead.
There's encouraging news tonight if you're feeling the pinch by the high cost of living. On average, wages increased 4.4% from April last year to April this year, while inflation went up just 1.7% over the same period. But whether you're keeping your money in your pocket depends on your job. CTV's Andrew Johnson explains.
Ever since the pandemic led to skyrocketing inflation, many Canadians have felt like they're drowning, not getting ahead. But the numbers have been turning around. New average wages in a variety of industries were released today by Statistics Canada. Pay overall is up more than 4%. But let's take a closer look. If you work in information and culture, it's an industry that's paying people 10% more than last year. These are jobs related to the movie industry, telecommunications, publishing, and content providing. Wages in real estate and rentals are up close to 10%. Finance and insurance wages rose 8%. Education is paying 7% more, and so is forestry and logging. At the other end of the spectrum, the average wage for people who work in utilities, think electric, gas, and water, is down close to 3%. Wages in retail down a bit as well, and in wholesale. The arts, entertainment, and recreation sector also didn't keep pace with inflation. Despite Canadians on the whole making more, one economist explains why right now, for you, it may not feel like it.
The general person who may have seen reasonable wage gains since 2023, say, doesn't take that and compare it against the fact that coffee's $20 and it used to be $10 for a package. They don't compare it to the fact that butter is more expensive and beef is a lot more expensive. These are the types of calculations that economists do. We talk about real wages and whether you're gaining against inflation, but folks are upset.
He also points out this trajectory of rising wages and economic growth over the past year or two is now in serious danger thanks to the Trump and tariff factor, and the near future is very much a question mark. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
All right, time now to recap our top stories. Leanne Evans joining us in studio tonight. Good afternoon, Leanne. And first up, we've got a recap on a major affordable housing development in the city of Waterloo, which is one step closer to becoming a reality.
Yeah, Ashley, the city has finalized the land transfer of an open field near Rim Park with the help of Habitat for Humanity Waterloo Region. Over 1,000 affordable housing units will be built as part of this project. It's being funded in part with $22 million from the federal government, with construction slated to begin next year. The price for rent or to own will range depending on the size, among other factors. Well, it's the lasting signs of the latest heat wave. Sidewalks around the region of Waterloo buckling from the hot temperatures. In the city of Waterloo, a portion of the sidewalk along Marsland Drive is closed, and 2 spots on the sidewalk on Herb Street also buckling. With extreme heat events happening more often right across the region, experts say they are researching new ways to try and prevent buckling from happening.
Now, today, the mayor of Kitchener stopped by the studio, Leanne, and talked about Canada Day events with you. You had a chance to speak with him.
Yeah, so Canada Day is Tuesday. Lots going on in the city of Kitchener. Downtown Kitchener will be coming alive. Mayor Barry Vibranovic joining us here in studio earlier today. You can watch that full interview online to find out more about all the events happening. Check it out on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. Family-friendly activities, live music, and much more. Ashley, I'm sure it is going to be a good time there in downtown Kitchener. Sloan is going to be the headliner for the concert. So it should be good.
And make sure to check out online for all the details. Awesome. Thank you so much for that update, Leanne.
You got it.
Well, a London high school student is on the road to joining the ranks of Canada's top engineers. The teen prodigy has produced a replica of a Mercedes-Benz SUV, and as CTV's Brian Bicknell tells us, it's helped him earn a lucrative scholarship.
At this luxury car dealership, there's one Mercedes-Benz without a price tag, but it has already earned one aspiring engineer greater riches than he could have imagined.
And I'm pretty sure this is probably the first of its kind in Canada or even North America.
This is Rebel Zabian, and this is his fully electric and fully functional wooden replica of a Mercedes G-Class SUV. The 18-year-old Regina Mundy student designed and built it, combining skills he learned in woodworking and robotics.
It took me around like 2.5 months to finish, a total of 120 hours of work. I would work on this in between lunches during school, and I also had a woodworking class.
The prototype has helped Rebel land a prestigious $120,000 engineering scholarship from the Schulich Foundation. He's one of 100 students across the country chosen from 300,000 applicants.
Beautiful. I believe in him. He did the best. He got the scholarship. He's entered university, and I'm super proud of him.
It was just a frame and the chassis. And then I just look at the completed project. I'm like, wow, that must be such a good learning experience.
The G-Wagon replica is on display at Mercedes-Benz London for the time being, where company officials can showcase the local talent.
Hard to replicate something like that without having one to compare it with, but it turned out very well.
As it happens, young Rebel is graduating high school on this night, and not just with a generous scholarship, but a story to tell and a memory of a passion project that launched his future. He's set to study at Western, flying high toward a career in aerospace engineering.
When you think of like how difficult this is to achieve, when you just remind yourself of that, it's incredible. It's not something that's ordinary. It's a unique experience.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Tens of thousands of dollars raised. Still to come on CTV News, we get an update on Ingrid the calf and her quest to help local kids and the incredible family behind it.
It's Jeff, KP, and Backstage Ben in the morning.
3 awesome people that want to start your day or finish your overnight shift.
You'll laugh, you'll text, you'll call, you'll scratch your head, and maybe even beat Backstage Ben. Weekday mornings from 5:30 to 10.
Listen live on the iHeartRadio app or at 105.3 Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Kitchener Our Community Calendar. On July 1st, you can celebrate Canada Day in downtown Kitchener. It's a full day of free fun and celebration, including live music and dazzling fireworks. We'll see you next time on Our Community.
It's described as the equivalent of the Stanley Cup Finals for esports, and it's happening this weekend in Kitchener. The Call of Duty League World Championship has kicked off at the Memorial Auditorium. Now that's where we find CTV's Krista Simpson tonight. And Krista, a lot of excitement as this competition gets underway.
Ashley, over the course of this weekend, about 15,000 people are expected to pass through these doors to watch this event in person. And of course, even more people are tuning in online, people from all over the world. This is also the first time the championship has been held outside of the United States.
Of the 100 million people in the world that play Call of Duty, we've got the 48 best players in the world here this weekend to play for a world championship worth millions of dollars to them.
It all kicked off this afternoon with the 8 participating teams playing in 4 first-round matches. Right now, the Toronto Ultra, who are the host team for this event, are taking on the Carolina Royal Ravens. Then tomorrow, elimination rounds start with the grand final scheduled for Sunday afternoon. The winners not only get a nice paycheck, but also prestige.
Prize money's in the millions of dollars. These guys are playing for big bucks here. But more than the big bucks, they are playing for what they refer to as a ring. A ring is the championship ring that you get from winning the Call of Duty League, and that is among the most rare and most contested championships that you can get in sport.
The majority of it is mental. It's all mental work, making sure you're mentally in the right spot when you're about to play, making sure it's you and a team essentially, so you've got to be all on the same page, all doing mentally well. Yeah, just trying to make sure you're all on the same page for the games.
So there's a lot of excitement here right now because the Toronto Ultra, the home team, are up right now leading 1-0. There is another match after this. The Atlanta Phase take on Optic Texas, and we should note that Optic are the defending champions, so that should also be a very exciting face-off tonight. They'll all be back tomorrow for the next round of play, and if you're interested in coming down to watch in person, there are still some tickets available for the weekend. Ashley.
Looks like a great night indeed. Krista Simpson reporting live from the Odd tonight. Thank you, Krista. Well, let's check in with the national news team now for a look at what's coming up later tonight.
Tonight, criminals cloning a victim's voice using artificial intelligence.
I've been in a car accident and I need money. It's always going to be, I need money.
How to protect yourself from AI voice scams. We'll have that story and more later on CTV National News.
Cool and comfortable conditions, but you may need an umbrella as we kick off your Friday morning. Wake Up Weather is coming up. Lots of entertainment for your Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Join us for E-Talk before The Big Bang Theory. Then at 8, it's CMA Fest.
Hi there, I'm Auntie Hill.
And I'm Sarge from Bounce Mornings with Auntie and Sarge.
Bounce 99.5 and CTV Kitchener have joined forces to send you to see Coldplay at Rogers Stadium.
Ah, yes, the Music of the Spheres Tour, which is coming up July 7th. Today's keyword is...
Spheres.
Enter it now at ctvkitchener.ca for your chance to win.
All right, let's check in with Leanne and see what our team is following for later tonight. Leanne.
Well, Ashley, we're following some developing news this hour. Brantford police looking for a missing 11-year-old girl. She was last spotted this afternoon in the Blackburn Drive and English Lane area before 4 o'clock. You can see a photo and read more details over on our website. And tonight at 11:30, we'll check back in from day one action at the Call of Duty World Championships at the Kitchener Odd. Organizers expecting 15,000 people to pass through the venue over the next 4 days. So, Ashley, a big weekend ahead.
Sounds great. Thank you, Leanne. Now, Alex, as we wake up tomorrow, you know, we're getting into the Friday of a long weekend. It's going to be a little bit wet, it sounds like.
Yeah, so you definitely want to keep maybe an umbrella, the rain boots, the rain jacket. I feel like I'm kind of a bit of a broken record at this point, but especially as we look ahead to tomorrow. Earlier in the day, it said we were actually going to see a chance of or some sunshine, but that's actually turned now to cloudy with those showers sticking around. So about 6 a.m. or we're hitting about 16 degrees, and we could see some light rain throughout the morning and cloudy with a chance of showers sticking with us as we hit 20 by 10 a.m. So just to be safe, I would keep the rain gear nearby.
Love it. And, you know, it's certainly a nice start to the long weekend in many ways.
And we get to see a bit of sun.
Exactly. Well, finally for us tonight, an update on Ingrid the calf. She took center stage in St. Jacobs today and raised thousands of dollars for autism and youth programs.
Ingrid was initially won by 22-year-old Wyatt through a radio contest, but Wyatt told his dad that he planned to sell her at the Ontario Livestock Auction to give the money back to programs that were near and dear to his heart. His original goal was $25,000, but the community coming together, forcing Wyatt's original goal to move over.
The grand total of the day was $31,800, and the final selling price of the heifer calf at the last time she was auctioned was $1,800. Anything that calf brought over $1,800 is strictly, you know, showing the good of what people in the community have come together to support this.
Wyatt plans to distribute the money among organizations like Autism Ontario, different inclusive youth sports teams, and milk programs.
Oh, yes.
What an incredible initiative, Wyatt. Kudos to you. Again, I said it yesterday, you're an amazing big brother.
Oh, my God, absolutely. And I'm glad we got to see, you know, what the final bid and prize was for.
$31,000. Well done to the community as well for coming out and supporting.
Great.
Well, that is our time for tonight. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out our CTV News app for news anytime. Krista Simpson will be back here at 11:30. Good night.
Take care.